Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. If you hear by any chance some music in the background, it's not me, it's the neighbors. I am currently recording this on a Friday night, so they have all the right to party and I hope they're having fun. But anyways, welcome to the new episode of Insightful Echoes, and today we're gonna talk about something that I've been struggling with, or I was struggling with, because I no longer am, since like May, end of April, beginning of May. I feel like I healed. Maybe not 100%, because sometimes that anxiety still creeps in. But I've healed a lot from the burnout that I was suffering in the beginning of the year and last year. So today I want to talk about slow productivity hacks to avoid burnout and burnout recovery. So let's start with the psychology of burnout, because to heal something, we have to understand first what it is. And burnout isn't just being tired. It's a state of chronic and physical emotional exhaustion caused by prolonged stress, often in situations that demand consistent outweigh of resources, meaning that you are, for a long period of time, pouring more than you have. You know that saying that's like you can't pour from an empty cup? Well, with burnout, you are constantly pouring from an empty cup every single day. The first sign is emotional exhaustion. When you're mentally drained and no matter how much you rest, you still don't feel recharged. Even if you sleep 12 hours for a whole weekend, like 12 hours every day, you still wake up and you are tired. And that's linked to the stress response of system dysregulation, like nervous system dysregulation, meaning your nervous system has lowered its tolerance threshold. So the amount of things that you could handle before, you no longer can. You no longer can reach that peak of productivity that you have because you abused it in a way for a long period of time. Then there's depersonalization and detachment, where you start to feel emotionally numb and mentally distant from your work, from your life, sometimes both at the same time. And this is your brain's way of protecting you from that prolonged stress. Again, you abuse your nervous system and your capacity for so long that now your brain is completely depleted. And the third sign is a reduced sense of accomplishment. It's that feeling like nothing you do really matters, and even achievement don't feel rewarding. Like every time you achieve something, you may acknowledge it, but you don't feel that dopamine spike that you should feel when you accomplish things. You are just thinking, okay, what's next? Or that's not that impressive, or anybody could do it. Or sometimes you don't even acknowledge or register that you achieve something. And this is the reward system fatigue. The reason why recovering from burnout feels so hard, and if you suffer with it before and you're currently dealing with it, you probably know that sometimes you don't see a way out and you're like, okay, I'm broken and I'm going to be like this forever. And you won't, but there's a reason why you feel this way. And it's because burnout hijacks the same systems that you need for recovery: your motivation, your focus, and your emotional regulation. Now let's move into slow productivity hacks for burnout recovery. And these are things that you are going to have to do, even if it feels like nothing, even if at first you feel like you are doing no progress at all. This is what you need to do, because you cannot keep pouring from an empty cup, because that's just gonna keep you miserable or make you even more miserable. So I want you to pay attention to these hacks and implement, if not all of them, one or two, and see your life improve over time. So slow productivity is about deliberately reducing speed and intensity to protect your nervous system while still making progress. So it's more like coasting, not completely stopping, because stopping at like 100%, like not doing anything at all is just gonna cause you to feel guilty and worse, and the spiral and the cycle is just gonna keep going. So first, lower the bar on purpose. Replace the phrase, how much can I do, with what's the smallest thing I can do consistently. Even small tasks restore momentum. So even if you do only one thing to move the needle towards your goals, even if you only do something that wasn't done before, like, I don't know, let's say you're learning a language, for example, and something in my own life, and I don't study for hours, I don't use other resources, and I only do 1 3-minute Duolingo lesson. That's something that kept me on the loop. That's something that felt like practice. I did something towards that goal. Yeah, I may not have done a lot of progress, but I did something. That thing is still in my life. I didn't give it up. It was like minimum effort, but I still accomplished something. Even those smaller tasks restore momentum. The next thing is the 3-3-3 rule. So 3 hours of focused work max. You don't need to get to the 3 hours, but that's the maximum you can do. You cannot exceed that. Number 2 is 3 main tasks only. Don't try to get your whole life together, at 3 a.m. and do everything and pull out all-nighters successively. And I'm being very detailed in this because that's what I used to do up until a few months ago. And number 3 is self-care anchors. 1 physical, 1 mental, and 1 social. Now, I'm not telling you to become a fitness freak and, watch 500 videos on mental health and force yourself to be okay in one day and go see friends every day. That's not at all what I'm saying. 1 physical can be a 15-minute walk. That's how I'm getting myself again into working out, because I was besides the burnout, I was feeling very depressed. So I couldn't get myself to work out. So at least a 15-minute walk. 1 mental can be either prayer or meditation, or just doing 1 habit that is going to be good for you, like journaling, whatever you do. Maybe you go to therapy and the therapist gives you some tips and some things that you need to do. I remember I was going to therapy end of last year and I couldn't get out of bed, and my therapist is like, if you don't do anything, at least make your bed and go out and have a walk in the sun, because that is going to help your mood. And it actually did. And that was the bare minimum, and I started building on it over time, but that was basically the bare minimum to start the motion of things and to start building momentum. And remember, this is a slow process. We're not trying to stay burnt out even more and make ourselves feel worse. Then we have energy mapping. This means working on your natural energy peaks and doing high value work in your high energy times. Some people are night owls and some people are morning people. You cannot force yourself to work up until 3 a.m. if you are someone that feels more motivated at 7 a.m. and getting the most important things out in the morning. And you also can't force yourself to wake up at 5 a.m. like a lot of books recommend if you feel more motivated in the evenings. So yeah, you have to look at yourself and look at what times are better for you. Only you know that. I can't tell you. For me personally, I thought it was the evenings, but recently I started waking up early. And when I say early, I mean 7 or 8, the days I don't have morning lectures. And waking up between 7 and 8 has really helped me a lot. I am not able to wake up at 5 because then the rest of the day I spend it like sluggish. But I aspire to be able to do that at some point in my life. It's not what I'm doing right now, but from someone that used to wake up at 11 last year when I took a gap year, and someone that now, obviously with lectures, help me go into the swing of things, but sometimes my classes are mostly in the afternoon. So I had that option of like wasting my morning or not, you know? So I chose to start waking up a little bit earlier every day, because obviously the change didn't happen immediately. I gradually started waking up like a little bit earlier. And yeah, now my waking up time is between 7 and 8, and I feel like that's been working wonders for me. And on bad days, you should try the 20% effort rule. So aim for just 20% of your usual workload. And this for me is days where my mental health really acts up, and when I'm in my luteal phase, or the first 2 days of my period. Those are mostly the worst days for me. So you can also look into cycle syncing, sorry, I mispronounced that. But yeah, I believe for women, cycle syncing is also very, very, very useful. And you can also do 1 day on and 1 day low energy tasks. For example, be very productive one day, and the next day just do the bare minimum to keep the needle moving. This is on the process of recovery. So you don't burn out doing Monday to Friday or even weekends, everything, and then have 1 whole or 2 whole weeks where you barely do anything. So I feel like 1 day on and 1 day off, it's better for maintaining momentum and still taking care of your mental health. And remember, time boxing without pressure works wonder. Short, gentle work sessions that don't overwhelm you. You can also do work, let's say, in chunks of 30 minutes and then have a little break. I believe that's called the Pomodoro technique. It also was wonders for me. I do struggle to get into the flow state in the beginning, so I do a little bit longer chunks, like I do an hour time chunks, because I really can't for the life of me study for only 30 minutes, because it takes me, when I first sit down to study, not in like the second chunk, I'm trying to explain this the best as I can, but I feel like my tongue just twisting. But when I first start my time to study, like let's say I wake up in the morning and I haven't touched a book, I take like 15 to 20 minutes to get into that flow state. So I can't just take a 30-minute chunk. So I do an hour and a little bit, then I rest, and then I take my other chunk of time. And then in the second chunk of time is way easier to get back into the flow. Now, some tips to get over the burnout and obviously keep it from coming back. And those are, first, focus on your nervous system recovery. Things like NSDR or yoga for 10 or 20 minutes a day. Monotasking, meaning doing only one task at a time, because your brain decreases productivity and also motivation when you do a lot of things at the same time. It's very overwhelming. And spending time in nature, back to what my therapist told me in November last year. It's like, at least expose yourself to sunlight. Second, use cognitive reframing. Align your task with your core values and redesign your life for a sustainable energy. And third, find micro joys. I know when you're burnt out, as I said in the beginning, it's very, very difficult to find joy in any achievement and in any of the small things in life. But small daily pleasures that make you smile are very important, because over time you're going to learn to appreciate them more, look forward to them, and have something that brings you happiness every single day. And fourth, set digital boundaries. Avoid starting your mornings in a reactive mode. Like you open your phone first thing as soon as you open your eyes, and you're very sensitive at that time, at first time in the morning. So you're seeing, I don't know, a TikTok or a reel of somebody saying something that you disagree with, an email about something that has to do with work or your career, or something that you're doing that is not great, or just anything that can set the tone for your day. for you to have an anxious or a stressful day. The fifth is explore creative recovery. For example, if you're already a creative person like me and you write a lot and do creative writing, I had a writer's block that lasted years, but to keep your brain engaged without pressure, you should shift, like try painting or try doing something. Something I really like right now is diamond painting and adult coloring books. I even had a children coloring book, and I only found that out this year. Like I found out that doing other artistic things, even if I'm not good at it, or even if I only do it for fun, which is the idea, to do it for fun, you don't need to be good at it, it helped slowly my inspiration for creative writing come back. And I was very surprised because I never thought I was going to write a novel or a short story again, and I found myself inspired writing again. And finally, treat sleep as a non-negotiable. This also, I need it tattooed on my forehead because I'm a fan of all-nighters, or I used to be. But then that just takes my energy off for the few next days, like the next few days, sorry. And then it would just make me feel so sluggish and not perform at my full potential, and also affect my mood horribly. I was like, what if I'm taking my medication and doing all that I need to do? Why is my mood so shit? And excuse my French, but yeah, my potential was shit, and my mood as well. So sleep is very, very important, and we, especially me, don't give it the importance that it really needs. And not only long sleep, but good quality sleep. So I hope you guys take something of value from this podcast, and I hope I could help, and I hope I could also make you understand this phenomenon of burning out. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Also, if you have any other tips that I didn't mention, or if you want to share your experience, share it on the comments below, and I'll be there to read them. See you in the next one.